Hi, boys and girls. So remember, there's no Zoom class today. So instead, I'm making this video to help you with your math papers in your packet. So watch this video first, and then you can work on your packet pages. So today for our lesson, we're going to be talking about two different coins. Our first coin is our penny. So our penny looks like this. Our penny is kind of a copper color, which is like an orangey brown. On the front side, there's a picture of Abraham Lincoln, who was one of our presidents. And on the back side, there's the Lincoln Memorial, which is this building here. And if you look super, super close in the middle, you can kind of see something. And that's actually a statue of Abraham Lincoln, who's on the front. So make sure, because sometimes on our paper, we don't get to have those colors. So you need to know what things to look for when you're looking at our coins. So our penny is worth 1 cent. This symbol here that looks like a C with a line down the middle is our cent symbol. And we use that when we're counting our coins, when we're counting anything that's under 100 cents, under $1. So our penny is worth 1 cent. That means when we count our pennies, we just count by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Our pennies have a little trick on the back too, to remind you if you're not sure what kind of coin you're looking at. If you look here at the bottom, on the back side of our penny, it has the words 1 cent. So that tells you 1, that's a penny, and it tells you 2, how much it's worth. A penny is worth 1 cent, right here. Our other coin we're going to talk about is our littlest coin. It's our thin little dime. It's silver. On the front, there's a picture of Franklin Roosevelt. And on the back, there's an olive branch. There's a torch, which is this thing here that looks like it has fire coming out of it. So you can look for those things to recognize your dime. But our dimes are kind of easy to recognize because you just need to remember it's the smallest coin. So anytime you see a small coin, you know that's a dime. Even though a dime is smaller than a penny, it's actually worth more than a penny is. So a penny is only worth 1 cent. A dime is actually worth 10 cents. So that means when we're counting our dimes, we count by tens. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, so on. So they're worth more, so we count them by tens. And a trick to look for on our dimes is on the back, our dimes actually say their name. Down here at the bottom, just like how the penny said 1 cent, this one says 1 dime. The word dime is right there, and it makes it super easy for you to remember. So now that we know our pennies, what they look like, we know they're worth 1 cent. We can see our dimes and what they look like, and we know those are worth 10 cents. We're going to practice trading our pennies for dimes and showing different money amounts using those two coins. So first, let's take a look at our picture. So I have 2 coin jars. I took all of my pennies out and put them on the right side. So I'm going to count my coins, how many coins I have in pennies. How much money is this? So remember, I'll just be counting by ones because a penny is only worth 1 cent. 10. Oh, and I just started by tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So all of these pennies put together just equal 10 cents. Well, that reminds me what I said about the dimes. A dime is also worth 10 cents. 10. So this 1 dime is worth the same as all of these pennies. So when we're showing money using our coins, it's always easiest for us to start with the coin that's worth the most. So it's easier for me to use 1 dime instead of using 10 pennies. So I'm actually going to take away these 10 pennies. It's a lot, and I already have the same amount of money just with that 1 dime. So let me put the pennies back in their jar. Anytime you have a number that is bigger than 10, you can trade some of your pennies for dimes. You should be using dimes because it's a lot easier to count dimes and a little bit of pennies instead of a lot of pennies. Okay? So let's practice showing some money amounts just using our dimes. So I'm just going to give you a number that's a multiple of 10. That means it's a number that we say when we count by tens. It ends in a 0. That's how we know I'm counting by tens. So let's say I want to show 20 cents. I'm going to count out by tens until I get to 20. 10, 20, stop. So in order to make 20 cents, I would need 1, 2 dimes. If I was using pennies, it would take me 20 pennies. But now I only had to use 2 dimes. Let's show one more amount with just dimes. If I want to show 50 cents, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, stop. So to show 50 cents in dimes, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dimes. If I look here, this number in the tens place is a 5, just like the number of dimes I used. So let me show you a little trick, because sometimes we won't always just be using dimes. Sometimes we'll have to use our dimes and our pennies. So let's practice a time when we might have to use 2 different coins. So let's say I wanted to show 24 cents. First, I'm going to start with my dimes because it'll be easy if I use as many dimes as possible before I use pennies, so I don't have to use as many. But how do I know how many dimes and how many pennies to use? Let's look at my number. So remember when we talked about place value, the number all the way on the right side tells us the number in the ones place. The number on the left side tells us the number in the tens place. That sounds familiar. Remember when I told you that a penny is worth 1 cent? 1 cent, ones place. And I told you that a dime is worth 10 cents. 10 cents and tens place. So our number on the right in the ones place tells us how many pennies. Our number on the left in the tens place tells us how many dimes to use. So that's a lot easier. Let's use that. So let's start with my dimes. Remember, start with your biggest amount that you can use. So my number in the tens place is a 2. 1, 2. Now I go to my ones place. That number is a 4. So I'll count out 1, 2, 3, 4 pennies. I'm pretty sure I showed it right, but I can double check my answer by going back and counting again. So let's count these. Remember, I'll count my dimes by tens, and when I move to the penny side, I'm going to switch to counting by ones. 10, 20, switch, 21, 22, 23, 24 cents, which is the number I put here, so I am good. Let's do one more. Okay, this time I want us to show, sorry, my nose is tickling, the number 16. 16. Remember my trick, let's start with the tens. So my number on the left in the tens place is a 1, which means just 1 dime. My number on the right in the ones place is a 6, so 6 pennies. 1, 2, you can count them with me. 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, I'm pretty sure I'm right, but it's always good to go back and check your answer. So I'm going to count my dimes by tens, and then I'll switch to counting by ones to make sure I showed 16 cents. 10, switch, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, which is my number I put up here. I'm good to go. So let me show you how you're going to use that to help you with your packet. In your packet on your guided class practice and your homework 28, you have 2 problems, one on each side, that show you pictures of the coins, and you need to count them up and decide how much money it shows. So I went in and I wrote how much each coin is worth underneath. I want you to do that same thing so that you don't forget. It's really good practice. So I know that the littlest coin here is my dime because it's small. So I know that's 10 cents. I'm going to write a 10 underneath all my dimes. I know that this one has the picture of Abraham Lincoln on it, and it's a little bit bigger. Remember, I said sometimes we don't always get to see our colors, but I can recognize the figure on the front. That's my penny, so I'm going to give a 1 underneath because those are only worth 1 cent. So I can count this up 2 different ways. I can count it up the long way, or I can use my short trick. I'll do both. So let's start with just counting. 10, switch, 11, 12. So I'm pretty sure I have 12 cents, but let's do it the short way, an even easier way. So I'll start by writing my number in the tens place, and I can pick that number by looking at my picture and counting how many dimes there are. Well, I only have one dime, so that tells me I'll put a 1 in the tens place. Now for my number in the ones place, I'm going to count how many pictures of pennies I have. 1, 2 pennies. So I'll put a 2 in my ones place. Altogether, that equals the number 12, which is exactly what I got when I counted them out. But this way is just a little bit faster. And then you also need to make sure you do your cent symbol, because you could be talking about $12. You could be talking about 12 shoes, 12 chairs. In order to know you're talking about coins, you're talking about money, you need to use that symbol. This symbol stands for cents. So it's the letter C with a line down the middle. All right, let's do one more. All right, I'm just gonna do it the fast, easy way for this one. So let's see, I start with my number in the tens place. And to do that, I look for my dimes, my ones that are worth 10 cents. I can see them with the 10 underneath. I'll count how many I have. 1, 2. That tells me I'll put a 2 in the tens place. Now let me look at my penny to tell me the ones place, how many pennies I have. Just 1, so a 1 in the ones place, that equals the number 21. Altogether, I have 21 cents. I can go and count and check. 10, 20, switch, 21. So I know I counted those correct. All right, boys and girls, I'm gonna post this video on Dojo, and there's also gonna be a link to a YouTube video that has a really cool song that tells you features to look for on the coins so that you know what presidents are on them, what they look like, their size, their color, so that it's really easy for you to see a coin and know what it is. So I wanna make sure you watch that video and this video and then work on your packet. All right, have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.